When a woman senses that your interest has waned, it often leads to a noticeable change in her behavior. Women are highly perceptive when it comes to attention and energy, particularly from a man they've been involved with or someone who has previously shown genuine interest in them. This shift isn't solely about emotional attachment. It's deeply tied to the balance of power in the relationship. When you begin to pull away, it disrupts her sense of control and makes her reevaluate her role in your life. This response isn't arbitrary. It's rooted in psychological and evolutionary principles. The moment your interest fades, whether intentionally or naturally, the dynamic between you two shifts dramatically. She transitions from feeling secure and desired to experiencing uncertainty and vulnerability. Women often seek validation, whether consciously or subconsciously, from men who have pursued them in the past. When that validation is no longer present, it can lead to confusion, self-doubt, and even a competitive urge to regain what's been lost. This is why you might notice her making more effort to reach out, reconnect, or even appear in places where she knows you'll be. It's not just about missing your attention. It's about her desire to restore the sense of control she felt when you were actively invested. As a man, understanding this behavior can empower you. By mastering the ability to hold back, you're not just reclaiming control of the dynamic, you're also showcasing your high value. Men who operate from a place of abundance rather than neediness naturally exude confidence and strength. This isn't about playing games, it's about recognizing your self-worth and positioning yourself as someone who isn't easily influenced. Women are instinctively drawn to and respect this kind of energy. In this video, I'll explore the common reactions women have when they sense your interest has faded and provide strategies for navigating this dynamic effectively. By mastering these insights, you'll not only enhance your dating life, but also build greater confidence in all your relationships. Let's get started. Number 1, she becomes more engaged. When a woman senses that your interest in her is waning, one of the initial changes you'll observe is her becoming more engaged. Women are naturally attuned to shifts in emotional energy, and when they detect you pulling away, it creates a gap they often feel driven to bridge. This change activates her innate competitive nature, particularly if she suspects other women might be vying for your attention. She'll start observing your behavior more closely, paying attention to your words, actions, and even the smallest details she might have previously ignored. This heightened engagement often shows up in her initiating conversations more often, inquiring about your day, or making efforts to integrate herself into your life in ways she hadn't before. You might notice her offering unexpected compliments, laughing at jokes she once dismissed, or interacting more actively with your social media content. These actions are deliberate, her way of reconnecting and drawing your focus back to her. From your end, this is a critical moment to stay composed. A man who reacts impulsively to this newfound attention risks losing the upper hand. While it's tempting to reciprocate her enthusiasm, doing so too quickly can undermine the shift you've created. Instead, stay focused on your own priorities and allow her to make the effort. Respond with assurance, but avoid over-engaging. She might also start showing interest in activities or topics you care about. Whether it's asking about your hobbies, suggesting outings she knows you'd enjoy, or bringing up past conversations, these gestures signal that she's paying attention and values what matters to you. However, don't let this distract you from your own path. Acknowledge her efforts without losing sight of your goals. Additionally, her increased engagement might come with subtle hints of unease. She may seem more eager to please, or her messages might carry a tone of uncertainty, like asking if you're upset or if something has changed. These are signs that your withdrawal has left her feeling unsettled, prompting her to seek clarity about your relationship. While this can be flattering, it's important to stay grounded. Acting dismissive or overly confident could backfire, turning her efforts into frustration. Instead, keep your responses balanced and intentional. Show that you're in control, but also communicate that your attention isn't something she can easily reclaim. A man of high value doesn't rush to reassure someone who suddenly realizes they might lose him. By staying calm and composed, you reinforce the idea that her increased engagement is a reaction to your confidence, not something you need to pursue or validate. This shift in her behavior is a clear indicator of her awareness. Recognizing and managing it effectively allows you to maintain control of the dynamic, keeping her intrigued while showcasing your worth. It's a nuanced balance, but mastering it solidifies your position and sets the tone for the relationship moving forward. Number 2, she challenges your resolve. When a woman senses that your interest has waned, her next step is often to challenge your resolve. Women are naturally attracted to men who exude stability and confidence, but when you begin to pull away, she will instinctively test whether your withdrawal is authentic or merely a fleeting act. These challenges are her way of assessing your emotional strength, self-discipline, and commitment to the new dynamic you've established. How you handle these situations will determine whether she respects you or views you as someone easily swayed. One of the most frequent challenges is her adopting a cold or distant demeanor to see if you'll pursue her. If she detects that you've stepped back, she may mirror your behavior in an effort to regain control. This is a strategic move aimed at eliciting a reaction. Many men fall into this trap, hastily trying to reassure her or intensifying their efforts to reconnect. However, doing so immediately shifts the balance of power back in her favor and negates the impact of your initial withdrawal. Instead, it's crucial to remain calm and unshaken. If she acts distant, mirror her energy or maintain a composed indifference. Your lack of response sends a clear signal. You're not engaging in games, and your self-worth isn't dependent on her approval. This approach will compel her to rethink her strategy and, more often than not, lead her to drop the act and seek your attention more openly. Another common challenge is her attempt to incite jealousy. She might casually bring up other men, share photos intended to catch your eye, or subtly hint at her options. This tactic is designed to trigger insecurity in you, prompting an emotional reaction that reaffirms your interest in her. Falling for this ploy hands her the control she's after, but remaining calm and unbothered underscores your value. A man who doesn't react to such provocations exudes confidence and emotional maturity, traits that women find deeply appealing. She may also test your boundaries by becoming more demanding or critical. This could manifest as her picking arguments over minor issues or pressuring you to justify your actions. The aim is to unsettle your resolve and draw you back into her sphere of influence. Avoid getting caught up in unnecessary disputes or over-explaining yourself. Instead, respond with clarity and brevity, showing her that you won't be dragged into emotional turmoil. Understanding the psychology behind these challenges is essential. Women admire men who remain steadfast under pressure and don't falter at the first sign of resistance. Each challenge is an opportunity to reinforce your value and demonstrate your independence. The more consistently you handle these moments with poise and self-assurance, the more she will see you as a man worth pursuing. By standing firm during these tests, you retain the upper hand in the dynamic. This not only deepens her respect for you, but also solidifies your position as a man who operates on his own terms. Number 3. She becomes emotionally volatile. When a woman senses that your interest has faded, one of the most noticeable changes is a rise in emotional volatility. This shift occurs because losing your attention disrupts her sense of stability and control. Women are deeply attuned to the emotional dynamics within relationships, and when they feel that balance slipping, it triggers an internal conflict that often surfaces as sudden mood swings, mixed signals, or dramatic behavior. This unpredictability is her way of processing the situation and, more importantly, attempting to reclaim control over the connection. Initially, you might observe an increase in warmth and affection. She may shower you with compliments, seek validation, or express how much she values you. These moments of heightened connection are deliberate attempts to draw you back into her sphere of influence. She's hoping that by being kind and attentive, she can reignite your interest. However, if this approach doesn't achieve the desired outcome, her demeanor can swiftly shift to frustration or even anger. This abrupt change isn't arbitrary. It's her way of testing whether her emotional fluctuations will elicit a response from you. For instance, she might start arguments over trivial matters, criticize you more frequently, or accuse you of being indifferent. These emotional outbursts are designed to push you into addressing her feelings and, in turn, re-engaging with her. Many men fall into the trap of overreacting during these moments, either by trying to pacify her or defending themselves excessively. Both reactions hand control back to her, which is precisely what she's aiming for. Instead, your role is to remain calm and emotionally detached. Allow her emotions to play out without getting swept up in the chaos. Another facet of this volatility is mixed signals. One moment she might appear clingy and overly invested, while the next she might withdraw or act distant. These shifts can be perplexing, but they serve a purpose: to test whether you'll chase her when she pulls away, or intensify your efforts when she becomes needy. Recognizing this pattern allows you to navigate it effectively. Avoid trying to interpret every signal, and instead focus on maintaining your own emotional equilibrium. Mixed signals lose their impact when you refuse to let them affect you. In some cases, emotional volatility may escalate into attention-seeking behavior. She might post cryptic messages online, flaunt her social life, or create scenarios designed to make you feel like you're missing out. This is her way of redirecting your focus back onto her, compelling you to wonder what she's up to. The key here is to resist the urge to react. A man who remains unshaken by her attempts to provoke him sends a powerful message. His value isn't contingent on her approval or attention. Ultimately, emotional volatility is her way of processing the discomfort of your withdrawal and attempting to regain the upper hand. By staying calm, grounded, and emotionally disciplined, you demonstrate that her tactics don't sway you. This reinforces your value and keeps you in control of the dynamic, ensuring that she has to work to earn your attention once again. Number 4, she seeks to rekindle your interest. When a woman realizes your interest has waned, she'll often pivot and make efforts to reignite your desire. This behavior stems from her need to reclaim the attention and validation she feels slipping away. Sensing that your focus has shifted, her instinct is to reassert her influence over you by becoming more captivating, alluring, and engaging. This stage is pivotal because it's where she invests effort to prove her worth in your eyes, a sharp contrast to when she may have taken your interest for granted. One of the initial strategies she may use is enhancing her physical appearance. Women understand how visual men are, and when she senses you've disengaged, she'll strive to make herself more appealing to you. This could involve dressing more provocatively, experimenting with her hairstyle or makeup, or accentuating her best features in ways that are impossible to overlook. Notice how she presents herself around you. If she's suddenly putting in more effort than usual, it's a clear sign she's trying to recapture your attention. Beyond her appearance, she may also adjust her demeanor. She might become more agreeable, playful, or flirtatious, emphasizing the qualities she knows you initially found attractive. You might notice her laughing more at your jokes, engaging in light-hearted banter, or reminiscing about shared memories. This is her way of reigniting the spark and reminding you of the connection you once had. While this may feel flattering, it's crucial to stay composed. A high-value man doesn't immediately yield at the first sign of renewed interest. He assesses whether her efforts are genuine or merely a reaction to losing control. Another tactic she might employ is creating opportunities for you to notice her. She could go out of her way to cross paths with you, become more active on social media, or subtly position herself in environments where she knows you'll be. These actions aren't random, they're deliberate. She wants to remind you of her presence and show you what you're missing. While these gestures may appear coincidental, they're carefully calculated moves aimed at drawing your attention back toward her. Additionally, she might adjust her behavior to align more closely with your preferences or interests. If you've mentioned liking a specific activity, hobby, or type of person, she may suddenly embody those traits. This isn't necessarily negative. It demonstrates her willingness to put in effort. However, it's also a test of your resolve. Don't immediately reward her behavior. Instead, observe whether these changes are consistent over time or simply a short-term strategy to regain your interest. The most important thing you can do during this phase is remain steady. Avoid falling back into old patterns of chasing or over-investing in her efforts. Let her work to rebuild the connection on your terms. A high-value man recognizes that her renewed interest is a response to his self-respect and independence. By maintaining your frame, you ensure that any rekindled connection is based on mutual value, not her temporary need to reclaim control. Number 5. She engages in psychological tactics. When a woman senses that your interest has diminished, one of the more intricate responses she may employ is the use of psychological tactics to regain control. These strategies are crafted to confuse you, evoke emotional reactions, and tilt the balance of power back in her favor. Such tactics are her way of testing your emotional resilience and patience, often leaving many men questioning their decisions. Recognizing and skillfully navigating these maneuvers ensures that you avoid falling into her traps or compromising your stance. A common tactic she might use is creating uncertainty about her feelings. She'll alternate between acting as though she's moved on and subtly suggesting she still cares. For instance, she might post vague messages on social media, hint at seeing someone else, or act aloof in person while sending late-night texts that imply otherwise. The objective is to leave you puzzled and uncertain about where you stand. This approach aims to make you seek clarity, thereby shifting the power dynamic back to her. The key here is to resist the urge to seek reassurance or get entangled in her mixed signals. Maintain your emotional composure and let her inconsistency reveal itself. Another classic strategy is inciting jealousy. She might bring up other men or intentionally make you aware of her increased social activity. This isn't accidental, it's a deliberate attempt to provoke an emotional reaction. If she notices that you're unsettled or threatened, it confirms her ability to influence your emotions even after you've distanced yourself. The best response is calm indifference. A man who remains unfazed by these provocations demonstrates confidence and high value, often thwarting her efforts to destabilize you. She might also try to manipulate your sense of guilt or obligation. This could involve reminding you of shared experiences, highlighting the effort she's invested in the relationship, or even portraying herself as the victim. By appealing to your emotions, she hopes to make you second-guess your decision to withdraw your interest. While it's natural to feel empathy, don't allow yourself to be guilted into overextending. Responding out of obligation rather than genuine interest weakens your position. In more extreme cases, she may test your resolve through direct manipulation, such as threatening to end things entirely. This is often a bluff to see if you'll cave and plead for her attention. If you give in, she regains control and confirms that your withdrawal was temporary. The appropriate response is to call her bluff. A man who can let her walk away if necessary communicates an unshakable sense of self-worth. Psychological tactics are designed to elicit an emotional response, so your greatest defense is emotional control. The moment you react impulsively, you lose the upper hand. Instead, focus on maintaining clarity, patience, and your personal boundaries. A woman will respect a man who can see through her tactics and remain unaffected. By staying grounded and consistent, you reinforce your value and keep her guessing, effectively flipping the power dynamic in your favor. Number 6. She seeks to regain control. When a woman senses that your interest has waned, she may attempt to regain control of the dynamic. This is a defense mechanism driven by her need to feel in charge, especially when she notices that the balance of power has shifted. Her objective is to reclaim the upper hand and demonstrate that she's the one directing the relationship. This phase can manifest subtly or overtly, but it's essential for you to recognize it and respond with unwavering confidence. One way she might try to regain control is by adopting a dismissive or condescending attitude. She could belittle your value, mock your decisions, or subtly highlight her options to undermine your confidence. For example, she might make remarks like, "You've changed. It's not as appealing as you think," or casually mention how other men are showing interest in her. This is a deliberate strategy to provoke insecurity and push you to seek her approval again. The biggest mistake you can make here is taking the bait. Avoid defending yourself or engaging in arguments. Instead, remain composed and let her comments lose their impact. A man who doesn't react emotionally to such tactics showcases inner strength and self-assurance. She may also attempt to dominate by controlling the communication dynamic. This could involve reducing her availability, delaying responses to messages, or cancelling plans at the last minute. These actions are intended to signal that she's still the one dictating the terms of interaction. Many men respond by chasing harder, trying to re-establish the connection on her terms. Resist this impulse. Instead, mirror her behavior by prioritizing your own time and remaining indifferent to her attempts at control. Another tactic is her becoming overly critical or judgmental. She might suddenly point out flaws she never mentioned before or question your decisions and actions to shake your confidence. For instance, she might say, "I don't get why you're doing this. It's not the person I thought you were," or criticize your goals and lifestyle choices. This isn't genuine feedback. It's an effort to plant doubt in your mind. Rather than engaging with her negativity, stay composed and stay true to your path. Confidence in your choices is the ultimate counter to her critiques. On a social level, she may try to assert dominance by showcasing her independence or social value. She might post pictures with friends, attend events without informing you, or emphasize how well she's doing without your attention. This is another attempt to provoke a reaction, aiming to make you feel like you're the one missing out. The appropriate response: focus on your own life, invest in your goals, improve yourself, and demonstrate that her actions don't affect your progress. A high-value man doesn't get distracted by such displays. Ultimately, her efforts to regain control stem from her discomfort with losing power. By maintaining your frame, staying indifferent to her provocations, and continuing to prioritize your own goals, you reinforce your value and show her that you're not a man who can be easily manipulated. A calm, steady demeanor will always outlast her attempts to dominate. Number 7. She steps up her pursuit. When a woman realizes that your interest has genuinely faded, her final strategy often involves pursuing you more assertively. This behavior arises from a blend of curiosity, frustration, and the fear of losing someone she values. Women are naturally drawn to what feels scarce or unattainable, and when your actions make it clear that her influence over you has waned, it sparks her competitive instincts. At this stage, her pursuit becomes more noticeable, intentional, and persistent. One of the most obvious signs of this shift is her increased effort to communicate. If she previously waited for you to initiate contact, she may now start reaching out more frequently. She might check in unexpectedly, send seemingly random messages, or engage more actively with your social media posts. These aren't casual gestures. They're calculated attempts to stay on your radar and rebuild a connection. The key here is to respond with moderation. Avoid rushing to match her enthusiasm. A calm and slightly reserved approach keeps the dynamic in your favor. Another tactic she might use is making her intentions more transparent. If she once played hard to get or maintained an air of mystery, that behavior may disappear. She might openly express her desire to spend more time with you or reminisce about shared memories. For example, she might say, "I miss how things used to be," or "We always had such a great connection." While it can be tempting to revert to old patterns, it's important to recognize that her increased effort is a reaction to your change in behavior. Don't immediately reward her pursuit. Let her actions demonstrate her sincerity over time. You may also notice her becoming more competitive. If she suspects there might be other women in your life, she'll likely intensify her efforts to stand out. This could involve going out of her way to impress you, showcasing her best qualities, or subtly undermining potential rivals. For instance, she might emphasize how well she understands you compared to others, or highlight the unique bond you share. These moves are designed to position herself as the most valuable option in your eyes. Your response should remain steady. Acknowledge her efforts without letting her regain control of the dynamic. Another indicator of her assertive pursuit is her increased availability. If she once played games with her time or made you wait for her attention, she may suddenly become more flexible and eager to meet up. She'll likely prioritize seeing you over other commitments, hoping to reignite the spark that initially drew you to her. While it's fine to accept some of these gestures, you should remain selective. A high-value man doesn't rearrange his priorities simply because someone else starts showing interest. Ultimately, her assertive pursuit is a direct response to your decision to step back and focus on your own value. By staying grounded and not rushing to meet her halfway, you reinforce the idea that your attention is earned, not given freely. This dynamic keeps her invested and ensures that any renewed connection is on your terms, not hers. Conclusion: when a woman realizes you've lost interest, her reactions reveal much about the power dynamics in the relationship. From emotional volatility and psychological tactics to assertive pursuit, each move reflects her attempt to regain control and recapture your attention. As a man, your focus should remain on emotional discipline, self-respect, and maintaining your frame. By avoiding impulsive reactions and staying true to your priorities, you establish yourself as a high-value individual who cannot be easily swayed. The key is consistency. Stay composed and let her actions speak louder than her words. In doing so, you control the narrative and keep the power firmly in your hands.